Hey, Walking Dead fans, this is going to be a video on the promos. They did promos for it said the next 3 episodes at the end of episode 5. And they've also released about 4.5 minutes of the opening minutes. They've released some promo photos and other little promos, and parts of the show have been shown, upcoming show. So let's go over some of that. I won't show all of it, but I will talk about some of it. And I don't want to give away just everything, but let's go over the promo that it did show at the end of the show and talk about it a little bit. Spoiler alert, of course, if you're not caught up with the entire season 9 up to episode 5, because this is really talking about what's coming up after that, episode 6 and beyond. As the quote in the promo said, The Walking Dead is back to being the best show on television, comicbook.com. And I get a lot of my news and things from my news videos, from articles at comicbook.com. I think they do some pretty good writing and investigating, and they don't give away too much, but they talk about just about every aspect. And as of right now, I haven't seen episode 6 and beyond, but as of right now, by episode 5, I'm kind of agreeing with them. It's becoming a better show as of episode 4 and 5, I think. So the promo opens, it gives us pretty much shots and with the new look, because it's 6 years later. 6 years later, can you even imagine that? 6 years later, after the bridge blows up, these first few images gives us really lays out the first 5 or 6 main characters and their looks. And first we see Michonne. You can see her hairdo. We see her better image of her in a little bit. We see Daryl. In the opening minutes, we see him waking up in a tent with holes in it. So he's definitely like old man Daryl out in the woods. I think he's not staying with the rest of the group, but we will see him with some of the group later. So I do think he definitely interacts. But then we see Carol, the biggest, oh my God, change, I guess, and like kind of really makes you double take, is Carol and her long gray hair. You know, 6 years, that's a question I may have to just throw out there to girls. You know how short it was back in episode 5 or episode 4 and 5. Can a lady her age grow out hair that long in 6 years? I mean, I didn't Google it, but seems kind of crazy. But she's definitely got, when I first saw her, especially in this photo right here, she looks so much like Jamie Lee Curtis in the current Halloween movie, if you've seen that. So that's pretty funny, but it pretty much just shows Carol and Ezekiel. It shows him too. They're just kind of gardening and stuff. It doesn't show a lot, except in this shot right here, of course, she says, drop it, like somebody's coming up on them. So that kind of makes me wonder who she's talking to. And we get a shot of Judith Grimes. I mean, I like it. I like the attitude. I like the possibilities. We saw Michonne training her with a katana at an early age, a few episodes before. She has Rick's gun. I don't think she's really old enough to probably handle it well, but, it's a fictional zombie show. And she's wearing the hat. And, she's a Grimes. She says, I'm Judith Grimes. So she knows of her father and that legacy. I'm sure he's some kind of folk hero, and just, she is a voice to be contended with. So I'm very interested to see her story and how they write her into the show and how it all plays out. I'm looking forward to it. Then we get a shot of Daryl. He's saying a storm's coming. And this shot, as we'll see later in the promo, it shows that he's talking to Aaron and Jesus, and they're looking down at a herd that's acting funny. And that's the thing, they're kind of scouting around, and I think they're seeing signs of the Whisperers. And we'll see later also that Eugene and Rosita see the signs of the Whisperers, and they hear them talking. And we'll go into that once we get there. But this next shot, we see a wagon coming in. We see Magna's group. That's who Judith rescued at the end of episode 5. And we see her with Aaron, and I think Rosita's in there, and a few others. In my last video, I said, no, Judith isn't out there alone in the woods. She's probably with Michonne. And I got that wrong. We see Michonne in another clip. It says she's kind of surprised that Magna's group there, and Judith steps up and says, I did it, so I'm sure Michonne will be a little bit more okay with it. But she definitely wasn't with Judith. I was wrong in that last video. It shows Aaron and Rosita. They were out either scouting or doing something outside the walls. And in the opening minutes, like I say, I won't show that or go into that too much, but Michonne is pretty much voiceover. It's talking. It's just kind of showing Daryl fishing and Carol gardening and Michonne scavenging around by herself, it looks like. And she comes up on this old van that's grown up with weeds and vines, and once inside, she finds a box, and inside the box is this little figurine. I'll be damned if it don't look just like Sheriff Rick Grimes in his classic pose. So then in this shot, you see that Michonne, of course, has come back and given the figure to Judith. And she's sitting here, it looks like, with a book talking to Negan. So she probably is going to take the comic book role, part of the story, Carl's story, of sitting and talking to Negan for a long time. But here's that shot of Michonne. I said we could see her better. That haircut's pretty badass, and just her whole look, that shirt, is kind of reminiscent of maybe it's one of Rick's old shirts. But she still looks kind of more badass than ever, I guess, and she's probably kind of pissed off and in a bad mood this whole time, and she probably doesn't like Magna. But we do get a shot of Eugene. He's got that long hair, remember, that braid in the back, and he's out in the woods, and he easily kind of stabs a walker in the head and is looking kind of badass. Eugene, helping him with the radio, helping him with all the things that Eugene can help them with. He's, I'm sure, been invaluable, and it looks like he's stepped up a little bit. You can see it looks like Magna and her group back there. And then we see it looks like probably Eugene on the tower. He's putting up a remote. We see in a extended little clip that Father Gabriel is talking to Rosita about, hey, I talked to Eugene, and he says if we go further out and place a remote that we can reach farther out with our radio and see who's out there. And this is all setting up something in the comic books, the Commonwealth. That's what they do. They reach out and they find a girl in Ohio, and the end up is what becomes the Commonwealth. And I think that's all being set up with them setting up this remote for the radio. But as we've seen in an earlier promo, Eugene and Rosita, they jump down and put mud on them. A horde of walkers is coming through, but they talk. They say, where are they? And Eugene hears this. Rosita, she kind of puts a hand over her mouth like, oh my God. And this starts the whole, they're evolving. Eugene kind of goes into this philosophy of they're evolving. And through their scouting, they're kind of trying to put two and two together. But it'll all kind of be revealed later that it's really humans, just regular people in walker skin. And they're called the Whisperers. And in the promo, we see this group, this herd, kind of just walking around in circles, kind of weird. And we see Jesus and Aaron and Daryl. That's back that first clip when Daryl says there's a storm coming, and you can see dark clouds in the background. But they're watching this herd going, they don't move normal. Have you ever seen that? And Aaron's like, no, I haven't seen that. And then they talk to Eugene. It says they're evolving. And so they're trying to put all this together, and like, maybe they are. And this night shot, I think it's definitely just a shot of them scouting again. That would be Daryl in front there with a light, and the other two lights would be Aaron and Jesus. And you can kind of see a dog there. That's Daryl's new friend, his pet dog.
You'll be safe here, I promise.
We get this cool shot of Judith, and she's saying, you'll be safe here. We get some pretty cool shots of Hilltop, a wide shot. We get a shot of Michonne. It's still with Magnus Group, so I'm not sure. Did they go do something? Are they still trying to make it to a safe place? I'm not sure. Sadiq is in the shot as well. And the guy on the far left, he's one of the saviors that I think was standing up with Jed. So I think that's the same guy. And there's this cool shot of Daryl. He's like seeing something, I think probably related to the Whispers, I would think. We get a shot of grown-up Henry, who's probably going to take a bunch of Carl's parts of the storyline. We saw Judith talking to Negan, so that's part of Carl's storyline. But there's a girl, Lydia, part of the next group of bad guys that Carl meets up with, and that starts kind of the whole Whisperer War thing going on. But Henry, I think, probably is going to take up that slack, but we'll see. We also get a wide shot of Alexandria and the windmill, which is pretty badass, and their garden and the buildings. The church looks like maybe it's finished. We get another cool shot of Negan. It looks like they've been playing ball or something. It shows in the promo. Definitely him and Judith have been having these talks probably for a while, possibly for 2-3 years at least. We do see Rosita. She's hurt, injured in the head. She's looking pretty desperate, not knowing what's going on. And I'm not sure if this is right before her and Eugene jump down and cover themselves with mud, or if this is something else. Could this be a scene where the Whispers are about to mark their territory? That's not going to be a good ending for Rosita. And we get this cool shot of Magnus Group again with a slingshot. If you didn't notice that the first time around, the walker that just got a hole through its head ended up being from a slingshot. And then the last scene in the promo is Jesus doing a pretty hellacious karate fly kick you, jump around, spin around, and cut you on the other side and hack you up, and that kind of kick. Like I say, they've released the opening minutes. You can look for it online. They've released some other promos. They're probably going to release even more promos, or at least some more photos, possibly. Some more articles and news will come out. I'm sure I will release a news video in the next day or so, and that'll include a little more information. But all in all, it looks like it's setting up pretty quickly, starting in the next episode 6, 7, and 8 at least, the next 3 episodes. It's setting up the introduction to the Whispers, and I'm really excited about that. I hope they really get into it hot and heavy before the end of the season. I'm wondering what kind of cliffhanger they may have mid-season, but we'll just have to wait and see. And I'm kind of excited now, more so than I've been in a little while, about the upcoming shows. So let's get to it. Let's watch them. Let's enjoy it. Let's hope it's written well. And I hope you guys are with me watching them and checking out the channel for all the content. As always, thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more dead stuff.